We have some breaking news from the NHL. We finally have clarity on the situation with Carter Hart joining the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll discuss those details. And we have another player changing teams via the NHL waiver wire. Another depth defenseman on the move. We'll discuss those details coming up next. Well, welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a couple of pieces of breaking news here around the NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights have finally come forward and put out their statement about how things are going to be worked out here with Carter Hart. And then, of course, we have another waiver claim here as well. So there's been speculation now for a few weeks that Carter Hart, the former Flyers goaltender who's been away from the NHL for quite a number of months now. Of course, he was one of those 5 players in that 2018 World Junior Canadian team that faced a lot of serious allegations and ended up going to trial, had to take leave from the league, and they're currently suspended until December, but they were reinstated after they were acquitted of all charges. The NHL reinstated these players. They're allowed to sign contracts as of October 15th, and they can resume playing come December. So at this point, there was a lot of speculation that Carter Hart was going to be going to Vegas. There was some other links to other teams earlier in this process, but it's been a few weeks now that it's pretty much Carter Hart's going to Vegas. We just don't know the details. A lot of people had speculated it was going to be a 2-year contract. That is not actually the case. The Golden Knights have put out a statement confirming that he's going to join their organization on a PTO. So obviously Carter Hart hasn't played an NHL game in quite some time. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly how this is all going to work because there's no exhibition or preseason games at this point that they could throw him into to see how he looks. Obviously, he'd be able to participate when he's allowed in practices and stuff like that, but that would be about it. They may be able to send him to the American Hockey League for a conditioning stint to play a game or two. I'm not even sure if that's going to be permitted. I believe it should be, but we'll have to clarify that. But Carter Hart is now a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Their statement goes on to say that they respect the process that the NHL and the NHLPA went through with dealing with these players, and that Carter will be joining their organization, but on a PTO. So it makes sense. I mean, really, why take the chance of signing him to a multi-year deal when he hasn't played in a really long time? What if that didn't work? That could really have a major negative impact on their cap situation. So come in and kind of reprove yourself. Doesn't have to be over a long period of time, but if they can see enough that they like what he brings and thinks he makes the team better, then they'll sign him probably to a similar type of contract that we were discussing. It was believed to be a 2-year deal around $2.5 million is kind of what they were looking at. So we'll see if that materializes, but for now, he'll go in on a tryout, and we will see where it goes, and that may lead to an official contract sometime before he's able to play. The other thing that this does as well is it buys them some time from a cap perspective to kind of see how the next part of their season goes. We know that Aiden Hill suffered an injury the other day. Evaluate that, kind of just to see, cap dollars are tight. Why not take your time and be as smart about it as possible? Not to mention, all the other stuff. They've comfortable, obviously, doing what homework they've done to bring him into the organization as well. I know there's going to be some fans that don't like that, but at the end of the day, the NHL's made their ruling. He is allowed to go back. And, well, I guess that it is what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter what we all think. It's happening. Carter Hart will be going to Vegas. Now, as I mentioned as well, another piece of waiver activity today. For the second consecutive day, a depth defenseman has been claimed through waivers. Yesterday, we saw now former Senator defenseman Donovan Sabrango get picked up by the Florida Panthers. And today, we've seen the San Jose Sharks pick up depth defenseman from the Washington Capitals, Vincent Iorio. Of course, he went on waivers with the return of McElrath and Washington. One of those two guys was going to need to go down. They picked Iorio, and, well, here we are. So, again, he gets to stay in the NHL this way when players go on waivers, as much as they probably don't want to move across the country or across the continent or, uproot their lives. I'm sure at the same time they'd rather make NHL money and continue playing in the NHL. So, at least when they're picked up, they do have to go on the NHL roster and, avoid going to the minors for the time being. So we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, with some of these guys, sometimes there's an injury or a situation where they need like a short-term solution, and sometimes those players end up back on waivers and end up back joining their old teams. I'm not completely sure that neither of these cases we're going to see that. San Jose's got a lot of options. I think they just might like this player better over some of the ones that they've put through waivers themselves here recently. In the case of Sebrango, it'll probably, and the other thing, of course, is how they play. If they don't, live up to the expectations, and they'll be back on waivers and they'll find another body to give a try to. But we know the Panthers that just announced that Dmitry Kulikov is going to be out for about 5 months or so with having surgery on his wrist. So that's going to create an opportunity there. So as much as it sucks for the teams that lost these guys, that hurts their depth, but it helps these players stay in the NHL and see if they can't claim a job somewhere else. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on this piece of news, and we'll discuss further. There will be another video coming later this evening discussing all the rest of the news and rumors around the league. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.